Hello, everyone. Jamen here on the topic of scenarios of global transformation. Okay, so in the topic of the conversation, we talked about what are our goals, or what could be our goals, where do we want to get to, strategy, how do we want to get there, and steps for second, third. And I thought it would help to even take a step higher, way higher level, and look at, how might global transformation proceed? What might be some of the main vectors? In his book, Sapiens, that many of you have probably read or at least heard about, is it Noah Yuval Harari, if I'm remembering his name correctly, the author? He actually says that the next major planetary empire may well be a green empire, an empire that's all about healing the planet. That was his prediction. I don't know about a prediction. It was just one scenario that he put on the table. But one of the things that's interesting about that is that the logical unit for lack of a better word, and I hate the word, but management or custodianship is the planet as a whole. All right, so that's one interesting thing. But this whole idea of a planetary empire is within the broader vector of, I'll just call it, political transformation. So that's one vector of global, or one scenario of global transformation. Now, again, I'm kind of using scenarios and vectors interchangeably, who cares? And it might be multiple, and probably will be, that come to play at the same time. Another possible vector or scenario is a new culture of caring and sharing and co-creation. And a new story that undergirds human culture. But in this new culture, there are fundamentally and radically different aims for the individual, right? Rather than the individual being all about like, oh, what's in it for me, right? It could just be a totally different cultural story that's all about what's in it for us as a whole, not just us, humanity as a whole, but Mother Earth as a whole and all of her children. So anyway, in this case, it's cultural transformation or even cultural revolution. Pope Francis is calling for a bold cultural revolution, as he wrote about in his encyclical Laudato Si, on care for our common home, which points to yet another potential vector for global transformation, which is spiritual or religious. Not to mix the two, but I'm just saying spiritual or religious, one or the other, or both. Another vector or scenario is economic transformation, where the mode of production of the global economy is radically transformed, as it has been in the past, right? Going back to when we were, when we were all First Nations peoples, living in harmony with nature, with the land, with the environment. In economist terms, the mode of production was one of symbiosis and sharing and living, really, and not taking more than what was needed, but really living in balance and in harmony and then, over time with the agricultural revolution, a different mode of production ensued, which led us all the way deep into feudalism, and as a mode of production. And then out of that came uh, the, if I'm remembering my history correctly, the burghers, the bourgeois, basically on the fringes in between different, kingdoms or principalities or, other feudal units. There were these towns where trade happened and you had professions and trades and everything started to grow. And so a new mode of production ensued, which was capitalism. So now we've covered three different modes of production. So we're talking about a transformation to a fourth, to a whole new mode, which could potentially even be moneyless. Who says there has to be money? We did quite well without money for um, hundreds of thousands of years or however long humanity's been around. Um, but that's just an example. But the mode of production really isn't about money or not money. It's, what is the overall framing? Anyway, I'm probably not defining that well, but you get my idea. So we've covered, looking back to the big picture of big picture scenarios or vectors, we've covered political transformation, cultural transformation, spiritual transformation, economic transformation, and that's just the beginning of a list. So anyway, welcome to this topic, and we'll see you at the meetings listed on radish.org to participate and meet face to face and talk about all this. All right, see you then. Thanks.